Welcome to the workshop. I'm Lisa Kroll, an NSCC English as an Additional Language Support Specialist. In this session, we will focus on vocabulary building strategies. At the end of the workshop, I will share additional NSCC resources you can use to continue to strengthen your vocabulary. The objectives for this workshop are to examine the importance of vocabulary building skills, to explore and practice using different tools to expand vocabulary, and to examine strategies to aid with vocabulary retention. Vocabulary is a broad term that means different things. Our vocabulary is made up of the words we understand when we hear them, the words we use when talking, the words we understand when we read, and the words we use when we write. The larger our vocabulary, the more we understand and the more options we have to express ourselves verbally and on paper. We are also able to better explain how we feel or why we are doing something. A broader vocabulary improves reading comprehension. You stop less during your reading. You are also better able to communicate your ideas and express yourself. And a strong vocabulary is directly linked to greater occupational success. Activating prior knowledge means remembering what we already know and combining it with new information to better understand. When your brain sees a word, it quickly tries to classify it. Level 1. I have never seen this word before. Level 2. I've heard of the word, but I don't know what it means. Level 3. I think I know what it means. It has something to do with... And level 4. I know the word. It means... So how can you build your vocabulary? Take a moment to think. How have you studied vocabulary in the past? What might be some other ways to learn and practice vocabulary? A dictionary is a very important tool. A good dictionary can help you understand your subject better, improve your communication, and improve your grades by making sure you are using words correctly. But do remember to include a reference if you use a definition from a dictionary in an assignment. A dictionary includes useful information about words, including definitions, pronunciation, and word use. An English-to-English dictionary will give you the most accurate information. There are many different types of dictionaries available: language learners dictionaries, phrasal verb dictionaries, and collocation dictionaries. Some online dictionaries include all of those features for free. It is important to find a dictionary that you are comfortable using. When speaking or writing, one of the best ways to expand your vocabulary and to avoid using the same words repeatedly is to use synonyms, or words with similar meanings, or antonyms, words with opposite meanings. Although many dictionaries include synonyms and antonyms, some people prefer to use a thesaurus, which is a separate list. One thing to be careful of when using a thesaurus is that some words have slightly different meanings or are meant to be used in different ways, so make sure you understand the word or look it up more carefully in a dictionary. Do you know any dictionary sites or apps? Some popular dictionaries available for free online are Longman, Merriam-Webster, and Oxford. Choose one of them for the next activity. Now let's practice. Choose one dictionary and search for the word research. What information can you find about the word? Next, I'll show you using Longman English Dictionary. Let's try searching Longman English Dictionary. And let's look for the word research. There's a lot of information given about the word. First is word families, including noun, verb, adjective, and adverb forms. Next is information about pronunciation, or how we say the word. In this case, when research is a noun, it is 2 sounds or 2 syllables. We can see the stress mark here indicates that the first syllable, re, is stressed a little more loudly and a little more slowly, as in research. We can also see that this is an AWL word, which means the academic word list, which we'll discuss later. It will also give you information if it's a countable or uncountable noun, and if there is a formal or informal form. Next are definitions, or meanings of the word, along with some example sentences that you can read or listen to. There is a very useful list of collocations. Collocations are words that sound correct or right to native English speakers who use them often and pair them together. For example, if we use a verb with the word research, we need to say do or carry out research. Some adjectives that commonly pair with research are scientific or medical research. Some common research plus noun pairings would be like a research project or a research program. Phrases include an area or field of research. And common errors. For example, don't say make research. Say do research or carry out research. Longman also includes a thesaurus, or a list of synonyms or words with similar meanings. However, the word research doesn't have many synonyms, so it's not the best to look for in a thesaurus. And finally, Longman gives examples from the corpus, which is a database of language. There are many different ways to record vocabulary. There is no preferred or better method. The way we record vocabulary will be related to our learning preferences. If you prefer to study things visually, you might prefer to use diagrams and sketches. Others prefer lists or graphs. Experiment with different methods to determine which type is the most effective for your learning. The way that works for you is the best way. A vocabulary notebook is another valuable tool that helps in remembering and using new vocabulary words effectively. A vocabulary notebook doesn't have to be an actual notebook. You can create a Word document on your computer. In your vocabulary notebook, you can keep track of new words, difficult words, commonly used terms, and examples. It's very beneficial to review your vocabulary notebook or Word file regularly to refresh your mind and test your understanding. Then test yourself to try to use the words in conversation or in writing. Some of the things you can record in your vocabulary journal or notebook are spelling, definitions, what is the meaning of the word, pronunciation, how the word is said, grammar, is it singular, plural, an adjective, are there any special rules you should be aware of, collocations, what other words is it often paired with, and context, where did you see or hear this word, what is it being used for, what comes before and after it, is it important for your future work? You should include whatever helps you understand and remember the new vocabulary word. Using graphic organizers can help you organize your vocabulary, remember new words, and make helpful associations to aid in memory. They are ways to make connections and visual representations of new words. These are some examples of vocabulary organizers. Visit the EAL guide to print your own copies and try them out. Let's visit the NSCC page to find the NSCC EAL guide. I recommend you log in to Connect because that's going to give you the best access. Connect is where you log in with your W number. Then in the search bar, you can search for EAL, or English as an Additional Language. This will bring you to the EAL support page. Here you can see your options for accessing EAL support, a list of weekly workshops, conversation circles, and how to book an appointment. But we're going to look at the EAL support guide together. It's organized into categories of different skills. On the left, you can find reading and vocabulary development skills. If you scroll through that, this is where you can find a list of graphic organizers to try. For practice using a graphic organizer, you can choose one from the NSCC EAL guide and complete it for the word research. Context is very important when trying to understand the meaning of a word. Context includes the situation, any background information, and who or what is involved. You can sometimes guess the meaning of a word by looking at the whole sentence. To get a better understanding, let's look at some examples of context clues. The first context clue is a definition. The author will sometimes provide a definition directly in the sentence. For example, the doctor's writing was utterly illegible. No one could read those scribbles. Illegible means that no one could read their writing. The second context clue is a synonym. The author will use a word similar in meaning. The situation is a conundrum, a puzzle that's difficult to solve. In this situation, you can guess that conundrum is something that's difficult to solve, similar to a puzzle. The third context clue is an antonym. The author will use a word opposite in meaning. Ricardo is so arrogant. He needs to be humble like his little brother Jose. Humble is the opposite of arrogant. The fourth context clue is an example. The author will give one or more example words. A volunteer firefighter works for no pay. In this example, you can understand that volunteers work without pay. Let's get some practice with context clues. Guess the meaning of the word in bold. Because they had an unkempt appearance at the interview, they were less likely to make a professional-looking first impression. Does unkempt mean A, new, B, clean, C, presentable, or D, untidy? Unkempt means untidy. We can guess this from the context of the sentence when it says that they were less likely to make a professional-looking first impression because of their unkempt appearance. Let's practice using synonyms. We will use the thesaurus in Microsoft PowerPoint to find some. For example, the word presentable. If I highlight the word, right-click, I can go to the list of synonyms, such as respectable, personable, well-dressed, neat, or tidy. At the very bottom, you can click on the word thesaurus, and it will bring up the list to the right. Let's try for the word likely. Highlight, right-click, synonyms, probable, possible, expected, prospective. Let's practice using antonyms. Remember that antonyms are like opposites, for example, day and night. Look for antonyms for these words. Likely. Again, we can use the feature built into Microsoft PowerPoint. Highlight the word, right-click. Look for the list of synonyms, but this time, go to the bottom of the list to find the antonym. In this case, it's unlikely. Let's try again with excellent. Highlight, right-click, synonyms, go to the bottom to find the antonym, poor. You can also use this same feature to find synonyms and antonyms in a Microsoft Word document. A collocation is two or more words that often go together. These combinations just sound right to native English speakers who use them all the time. On the other hand, other combinations may be unnatural and just sound wrong. Look at these examples. In natural English, we say the fast train or fast food, but we cannot say the quick train or quick food. We commonly say a quick shower or a quick meal, but we do not say a fast shower or a fast meal. It would be very useful to record collocations in your vocabulary notebook as you encounter them. Let's try an activity to practice collocations. You can go to the internet and visit oup.com and search for Unit 13 Change, Exercise 1. In this Oxford Academic Vocabulary Practice exercise, complete the sentences using one preposition, for example, of, in, with, etc., in each gap. For example, number 1. Organizations have been forced to adapt changing market conditions. I think it's common to say adapt to something, so I will write to in the box. Let's try number 2. The objective is to encourage the substitution fossil fuels cleaner forms of energy. Maybe I think substitution of fossil fuels in cleaner forms of energy. If I want to check, I can show the answers or show my score, and I can start again. To further develop your vocabulary, you can also consider: how likely are you to encounter and use the vocabulary? Not very often or often? How useful is it for you? Is this a word or phrase that is used informally, such as slang when speaking, or more formally like in writing? Similarly, is the vocabulary general or used for academic purposes? If you are looking for resources to help build your academic vocabulary, you can search the Academic Word List, also called AWL, or Oxford Academic Vocabulary Practice. What is the vocabulary you need to know for your subject or program, or the workplace, and how can you develop that? Pay attention to glossaries in textbooks, terminology, or word lists provided by instructors, or do an internet search for business English, glossary for trades, etc. It is essential that you use vocabulary that recognizes, respects, and includes everybody. For example, people or humankind instead of man or mankind. You can refer to an inclusive language guide. The best way to improve your vocabulary is to practice. Review your vocabulary often. Try 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. Use visuals with new words when possible. Cluster or group in webs or categories. Make it a point to use words in real life. Speak up and say it out loud. Practice vocabulary in phrases and context. Use the collocations of words when you practice them. And finally, make connections with feelings or experiences to help you remember vocabulary. Every time you learn a new word, you are expanding your vocabulary and adding to your word bank. The larger the vocabulary, the more successful you will be in expressing yourself and sharing your ideas with others. Thank you for listening to the workshop. If you need further clarification or to practice these skills, please book an appointment with an EAL support specialist. Resources and references will now follow. There are many available resources for NSCC students. Please take some time to explore them. Visit the NSCC EAL page to view the schedules for upcoming EAL workshops, conversation circles, and to book an appointment with an EAL support specialist. Use the EAL guide for additional resources to help you with your language learning. Use NSCC's writing guide for tips, advice, and information for all your writing needs. You can find all these resources and more on the Learning Supports Connect page and link on the screen. Connect is NSCC's intranet and requires your NSCC W number and login.